Hey there lovely viewers, how are you guys? My name is Akash Dev and today is day 22 of my hashtag 30 days of talking to camera challenge. The date today is 14th of August 2023 and the date today is Monday. So today, before coming to the topic, let me first tell you about something. I am telling this because I have seen most of the people who watches my video watches the first 30 seconds to 1 minute of it and then stops the video. So I guess I should talk about this thing in the starting of my video itself. So my main motive of doing this challenge or recording this video is not to teach anyone anything, or not. I'm not doing it for any person or any community. I'm just doing this for myself. If you are watching this video, I am so thankful for that. And if you think that in any ways by doing any changes I can improve my communication skills more, then I am you should definitely comment that. I am doing this challenge or recording one video each and every day just because I want to improve my talking to camera skills, and I also want to improve my communication skills and my English speaking skills, because English is not my first language and I'm very bad at speaking in English. And I thought that if I spoke every day for almost half an hour, then definitely my skill would improve. And it's just a part of my experiment that I'm recording this video every day. And now when I had to speak every day, then there need to be any topic on which I had to speak. Since I don't have any much topic and I am currently studying data structures and algorithms, so I decided to share about that only, to record videos on data structures and algorithms itself. That's why the videos which I've been uploading are from data structures and algorithms. So now you may know my main purpose of uploading these videos and recording myself every day. So now let's come to our main topic. In the previous videos till now, I have talked about many things. I have talked about some basic searching and sorting algorithms. I have talked about stack, queue, linked list, different types of linked list, heap data structure, T data structure, binary tree, heap sort, and many more things till now. And in yesterday's video, that is in my previous video, I talked about hashing, hash function, hash table, how are these things, what are these things, collisions, and etc. And as I promised, in today's video I'll be talking about how we can resolve collision, that is how we can solve the issue of collision that happens while hashing. So before jumping into that, let me tell you some brief idea about collision resolving techniques, and then we will delve deep into each of these topics. So what are hash collisions? Hash collisions are basically unavoidable when hashing large number of keys. So what is hash collision? As I discussed earlier, hash collisions means in a same address, when the hash function gives two inputs. Suppose in the same index, hash function is adding two different elements, then there occurs a collision case. So techniques that are used to find the alternate location in the hash table is called collision resolution. So there are few techniques by which we can resolve this collision techniques and collision problem, and these techniques are called collision resolution. There are a number of collision resolution techniques to handle the collision in hashing, and there are two most commonly used collision techniques, and they are open addressing and separate chaining. Now let's have a little bit of understanding about what is open addressing and what is separate chaining. So open addressing, what do you mean by term addressing? Addressing means giving something an address. And what is open? Open means in Hindi, open means khula. So open addressing means we give the new element a different open address, an address that is open, that is not closed by any other element. Now what I am trying to say is, suppose I have an array of size 5, so I can add 5 elements in it. Suppose when I have 3 elements currently, A, B and C, and if I am parsing A through my hash function, then it would give me the index 2. So that means A should be present at the index 2. Suppose this is my array and this is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, that is size equals to 5. Now if I parse A through my hash function, it would give me index 2. So A would be present here. Then if I suppose B through my hash function, then if my hash function is giving B also as index 2, then I can't add B in this index, because this is already filled. So this is collision. Now where can I add B? I can add B in any other positions except the position in which A is present, that is except the index 2. I can add B in index 3, I can add B in index 4, or I can add B in index 1, or I can add B in index 0. So when open addressing, what happens is the hash function provides B with a new address in which we can add b in my array, that is in my hash table. So if a is already present in hash table in the index number 2, then the b will be present in index number 3 or in any other index depending on which hash function we are using. I have already discussed how to decide which is the best hash function and what is proper hash function, so I won't be discussing those things here. If you want to know more about these things, you can just go and watch my previous video, or else you can simply search it on Google and you may know the answer. So this is how open addressing works. Now let's talk about separate chaining. So what basically separate chaining means? As talked, while in open addressing we provide a different address to the node, in separate chaining we add one more node to that index, and like I will create a new separate chain in that index only. Suppose a is already present at index 2. Now I will add one more node at index number 2 only, and the value of that node would be b. And if c also the hash function gives c also as index number 2, then I would add one more node and the value of that node would be c. So this is how we create a new we do separate chaining, and we create more elements, and we resolve the collision cases. Now let's move forward. Now let's understand hashing with open addressing in detail. When using open addressing, the hash table represented by one-dimensional array, which indices the range from 0 to the table of table size minus 1, that is 0 to 4. If the length is 5, then 0 to 4, that is table size minus 1. One method of resolving collision is to look into a hash table and find another free slot to hold the value that have caused the collision. A simple way to do this is move one slot to another in some sequential order until we find a free space. This collision resolution process is called open addressing, as I have discussed earlier. Now let's talk about linear probing. What is linear probing? Linear probing is a type of open addressing. Linear probing is a hashing technique which follows open addressing rule. Now in linear probing, what we do is we try to resolve the collision of an index of a hash table by sequentially searching the hash table free location. That is, in linear probing, just like I have discussed earlier, I will sequentially search to the hash table until I found a free location. And then when I found the free location, let us assume if k is the index retrieved from the hash function, if the kth index is already filled, then we will look for k plus 1 mod m, that is the next index. And if it is already filled, then I will look to k plus 2 mod m, k plus 3 mod m, k plus 4 mod m, until I found a index which is empty, that is a open address. When we get a free slot, we will insert the data into that free slot. So what's the function that I am using here? K plus I mod m or I plus 1, where I belongs to 1 to the length of the array, that is I plus 1, I plus 2, and likewise. So I hope linear probing was clear. I can't show you the example of this because currently I don't have any blackboard or whiteboard or anything where I can write. So if it was possible for me to write and show you the examples, I would have definitely done that. Since my main purpose of the video is not to show you the examples, my main purpose of recording this video is just to talk in front of the camera, and I am thinking that doing this stuff is serving my purpose very well. So that's why I am not trying to show you those things. And if you want me to explain you those things, and many people have already made a beautifully well explained video in these topics, so you can go and refer those videos, like Abdul Bari sir, and there are many more people. And if you want me to explain those topics, you could simply comment it in the comment section. I will definitely record a new video where I would be explaining each and every topic in detail using a whiteboard or a blackboard. So let's move forward. Now the next method which we can use in open addressing is quadratic probing. Quadratic probing is very similar to linear probing, but the only difference in quadratic probing is that in quadratic probing we try to resolve the collision of the index of a hash table by quadratic increasing the search index of free location. That is, previously in linear probing what we were doing is k plus I mod m, where I is the I is the number of times which we are using the hash function. If I am using the hash function one time, so I would be 0. If I am using one more time, then I would increase to 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then so on. But in quadratic probing, what I am doing is, first I would be 0, then I would be 1, then I square, that is 1 square, then I square square, I plus 1 square, that is 2 square, then 3 square, then 4 square, then 5 square. So likewise. So this is what happens in quadratic probing. Let us assume is k is the index retrieved from the hash function. If kth index is already filled, then we will look for the k plus 1 to the power 2, k plus 1 whole square mod m, then k plus 2 whole square mod m, and so on. When we get a free slot, we will insert the data into the free slot. It is very similar to linear probing, but the only difference is here we are taking square, and in linear probing we are not taking the square, we are just increasing the elements. Now we have to note one thing is the table size should be a prime number to prevent early looping. It should not be too close to 2 to the power n. Now let me tell you about implementation of linear probing. I can't accurately show you the code, but I will try my best to explain you how the code works. So in linear probing we have some functions. Let me explain. Hash table class consists of an array which is used to store data and another array flags which is used to track if some slot is occupied or not. It also contains size of the array. So basically first we will have an array which will store the element, that is the data, and another array which will store the frequency of the element, that is if any slot is empty or not, the other array will store. Now when the hash index is already occupied, the resolver function is used to get the new index. Then we have an add function in this class, and what that add function does is, function are basically methods in Java. In other languages we call them as function, but in Java we call them as methods. Add function is used to add values to the hash table. First hash is calculated, then we try to place this value in hash table. We look for an empty node or lazy deleted node to insert value. In case insert did not succeed, we try new location using a resolver function. So this process continues, as I have already discussed in open addressing. Then we also have a find function. What find function does is, find function is used to search values in the array. First hash is calculated, then we try to find that value in the hash table. We look for over desired value or empty node. In case we find the value that we are looking for, then we return that value, or case is not found, then we simply return -1. We use a resolver function to find the next probable index to the search. So what we are trying to do here is, we use a find function, and if we find the element and that is already in the table, then it's okay, and we can't find any element, then we would simply return -1. -1 means we can't add more elements in my hash table. Now let's move forward. Now there is one remove function also in this hash table class. What this remove function does is, remove function is used to delete values from a hash table. We do not actually delete the value, we just mark that value as deleted node. Same as the insert and search, we use resolve function to find the next probable location of the key. I hope this was clear. I was just reading these things from the script because to explain these things I need to show you the exact code, and then I could explain these things line by line to you guys. But currently as my hands are like tied from due to various reasons, I am just trying to explain you the intuition and how we can solve these problems. Now let's move forward. What the print method does is, there is also a print method in this hash table class. Print method print the content of hash table. Main function demonstrating how to use the hash table. So what are the 4 main functions in the hash table class? First is add, second is find, third is remove, and the fourth is print. So I hope this was clear. Now let's talk about quadratic probing implementation. So how we can implement quadratic probing in hash table? So everything will be same as linear probing implementation, only resolver function will be changed. In the linear function case, the resolver function was k plus 1 mod m, and in the quadratic probing we will use k plus 1 to the power 2, that is k plus 1 whole square mod m. So this is the only difference between linear probing and quadratic probing, rest everything is same. Now let's talk about hashing with separate chaining. As I have discussed earlier, this is just a simple case, so we will finish it, wrap it up very quickly. Now what is separate chaining? Another method for collision resolution is based on an idea of putting the keys that collide in a linked list. This method is called separate chaining. To speed up search, we use insertion sort or keeping the linked list sorted. So this is how separate chaining works. I hope this was clear. Basically in any node, if I want to add more elements, then I would simply create a linked list in it, and then I would add the elements. And to speed up the search, we would use insertion search algorithm, in which we can insertion sort algorithm, where we can the lowest value element would be at the first, and likewise. So in that case, keeping the elements in sorted order makes it easier for us to search the elements, because as we have already discussed that in sorted elements we can find a particular element in log n time, but if the element is not sorted, then we can find the element in big O of n time. So this is how these things work. Now there is one very important point to note, that it is very important to note that the size of the table should be such that all the slots in the table will eventually be occupied, otherwise part of the table is unused. It is suggested that the table size should be a prime number for better distribution of keys, as I have already said this earlier also. So this is all the concepts of like hashing and hash table and hash function. So I hope this all was clear. Now we have the problems part, but I don't think discussing problems would be like easier for me, because problems are very difficult than explaining the concepts. I have just explained the concepts right now, and let me have a look if I can discuss the problem, 1-2 problems, and if it is possible, then I would discuss them. So yeah, let's discuss some problem based on hashing. So what my first problem says is, we have to find that in any string is anagram or not. We have to find that the anagram is find two strings that are anagrams. So what basically is an anagram? An anagram is a word or a phrase that is formed by reordering the letters of another word or phrase. Suppose I have a word cat. So what would be a possible anagram of cat? That is TSC or ACT or CTA. Anything could be a possible anagram for the word cat. Basically it's jumbled word. So what we can do is, we would traverse through the string, through the whole string, and we would keep the frequency. Like C is occurring 1 time, C would be the key, and 1 would be the value in my hash table. Like C is occurring 1 time, A is occurring 1 time, and T is occurring 1 time. And if we have another, first we would check if the length of both the strings is equal or not. If the length of both the strings is not equal, then we could simply say that these two strings are not an anagram of each other. And if the length of strings are equal, then I would first see if the frequencies of all the elements, that is all the characters that is present in the strings, and then I would compare it with all the characters present in the other strings. So then I would compare both the things, and if both are equal, then I could simply return it. Suppose the C is occurring 1 time here, and A is occurring 1 time, and T is occurring 1 time, and in other string also C is occurring 1 time, A is occurring 1 time, and T is occurring 1 time. Then we know that both these strings are anagrams, and then we could simply return true if both the strings is anagram, or else we could simply return false. Then in that case we know that both the strings are not an anagram of each other. Now let's move to our second question. What our second question says is, we have to remove duplicates from the array. We need to remove the duplicates from the array of numbers. So what we can do here is, we could use a secondary array or the same array as the output array. Our approach be, first I will create an hash set, and I will traverse through whole array and insert each number one by one. And if I come through across a number which is already present in that array, then I would simply remove that number, and I will move forward, or else I can return that okay, this number is the duplicate number. So likewise we could remove duplicates from the array. I hope this was clear. Now let's move to our second question, our third problem. What our third problem says is, we have to find the missing element in the array. So we have given an array of integers, we just need to find the missing numbers in that array. So how we could do this? All the elements in the array is stored to hash table. The missing element is found by searching into the hash table, and the final missing value is returned. Now let's talk about our fourth problem. In fourth problem, we need to print the repeating element. So this was similar as the printing duplicate element. We have given an integers, and we just need to print any number that is occurring more than 1 time. So all the values are added to the hash table. Since some value which is already in the hash table, then that is the repeated value. So what I am trying to say here is, I would store all the values, and I will store the frequency of each and every value that is present in the hash table. So for any value, the frequency would be 1, and if the value is occurring one more time, then the frequency would be 2. So in first I would do this and store all the elements in my hash table, and for the values in which the frequency is more than 1, I would simply return those values, and these are the values which is the duplicate value. I hope this was clear. Now let's move forward. This problem, what we have to do is, we have to print the first repeating element, the element which is occurring 2 times, the first, that is the first element which is occurring more than 1 time. So what is the exact problem? Let me read the problem for you guys. It is same as the above problem. In this we need to print the first repeating element. Care should be taken to find the first repeating element. It should always be the number that is repeating. For example, 1 2 3 2 1. The answer should be 1, as it is the first number which is repeating. So what we can do here is, we can add values to the count map. The one that is repeating will have the multiple count. Now traverse the array again and see if the count is more than 1. Therefore the first repeating element is found. So this is very similar to the previous one. In previous one we were just printing all the elements which were repeating more than 1 time, but in this case we would just print the first element which is occurring more than 1 time. So I hope this problem was also clear. Till now, keep up to this only. I have discussed everything about hashing, hash table, hash function, abstract data type in hashing, what are the methods, functions, everything, some basic problems, the analysis, the intuition. I have discussed many things in these 2 videos, and I have not covered the things in very detail, in very depth. I will just cover the overall just touched all these things from the surface level, and I hope you are able to understand these things. And with this video today, I completed my day 23 of my hashtag 30 days of talking to camera challenge, and more 7 days to go, that is more 1 week to go, and I hope I could complete this 1 week also without failing any day. And yeah, let's keep up to this only. Thank you so much for anyone who have watched this video this far. Thank you so much. Bye bye, all the best.